Good evening again.
Good evening again.
Thank you. I told you I'd ramble. There was something I completely forgot to talk about, and I did want to talk about this, and it's this. And we're going to get to this in a moment, because first of all, I want to say this. I occasionally listen to a podcast called The Today Podcast. It's from the Today programme Radio 4, and it's hosted by Nick Robinson and Amal Rajan. I got a book by him for Christmas. He's a lovely man, I think. And Amal is a journalist. I mean, let's go straight to it. But he's somebody who really appreciates the skill of journalism, and he's used this phrase, "It's a good piece of journalism." Now, he's used it times on the podcast. It's a good piece of journalism. And the first time he said it, it really caught me off guard. Because I thought to myself, well, what does that mean, a good piece of journalism? Sure, you just get a story or whatever. And obviously that's a demonstration of my ignorance. And I think that when you are part of a profession, you get to recognise really good examples of that profession. And being able to appreciate that is a really lovely thing. So I appreciate the fact I can appreciate that now. Now, where does this lead to midnight? I tell you how. Leslie Sharp and David Tennant. Now, I've seen that the performance between those two, when they're talking over each other, as a fine piece of technical acting. And this phrase, I think, has stayed with me for years and years. I think, what does that mean, a piece of technical acting? Well, obviously what they're talking about is just the technicalities of saying the same thing, you know, one thing after another, or just at the same time, whatever else like that. That's hard to do. That is just technically hard to do. Then do that whilst playing a part. I mean, you see, you've already stretched beyond the, credibility of me even talking about this with any level of authority, because, my acting prowess finished at university and I was never really good in the first place. So the fact that, you can see this two top-class actors, world-class actors, doing something intensely difficult and making it work and telling a story and doing it so well that I even forgot to talk about it because it's just so naturally done on the screen. I think it's a spectacular thing. Leslie Sharp, her performance throughout this story is utterly sublime. The fact that she's able to sell this, and I completely buy her character before she gets taken over by the whatever that is. She's, been heartbroken. Did she do the leave-in? Did she do the whatever else like that? There's a bit of tension. She's quite angry, but there's clear emotional depth. I really buy into whoever this person was, and I believe them as a thing. And then she's the first one to get scared, and she gets really scared. There's clearly some trauma going on that I completely buy. And then when she gets taken over by the whatever it is, and she has to start to sell that. Now, obviously, she's got, a team of actors around her who are, selling that situation as well and convincing us of that. But when she does those movements of her head, and she looks like a bird, that's always the thing that springs to mind, that sort of quick movement of the head, and the editing helps, and then there's the sound design, and you can hear her muttering in the background as everybody's talking in the foreground. And then you get that, obviously that bit where she and Tennant are eyeball to eyeball and just talking and talking. And that moment where she speaks before him for the first time, what's the line that they say? I'll help you out, or it's something so innocuous, but you instantly, as a viewer, see what's happened, and it's all going to go terribly, terribly, terribly wrong. And I just think that, it's one of those guest parts in Doctor Who that resonates much bigger than that one particular episode, because it's just such an amazingly potent performance. It's like the flip side of, your Jagos and Lightfoots, and, very personal way, Bilal. God bless Bilal, the actor who played Bilal died the other day, and I genuinely felt very sad about that. I had to go and watch the start of episode 4 of Death to the Daleks just to, pay homage. But my point is, what an absolutely, when RTD wrote that, he must have known that that was a big ask for two actors to do, to sell that moment, to make that work, without fudging it, without having to do two cameras cutting against each other, which you just know wouldn't have rung true. And what you get is this eyeball to the tension that ramps up during that moment, and the way that Tennant and Leslie Sharp managed to genuinely convey what's going on in that moment, alongside the difficulties of just simply doing it, is utterly amazing. See, I told you I could talk about Midnight forever, but I am going to stop now. But there you go. I couldn't let that one go because that's been bouncing around my head for a little while. Good evening.
Karen Gillan has had a baby.
Oh, is Karen Gillan a baby?
Yeah.
Oh, let me be the first to congratulate Karen Gillan on YouTube. Bye-bye.